those pictures that are hanging on that star quilt down there. You know, we don't come to this way of life or this way of understanding easily. You know, it takes a lot of generations of our people to stand up and say, this isn't right. That Native people, we shouldn't be afraid to live on our own homelands. We shouldn't be afraid to be free in our own homelands. And it was the vision of a lot of the people that are sitting on this podium right now is the reason that I'm doing what I'm doing today, and the reason why some of these young people are being awoken and putting their cell phones down and really paying attention to what's being said. This is what matters, is when we come together like this as a community. And I would have never had that community. I would have never had this understanding of what decolonization feels like, what it is to live it, without people like my uncle Glenn Morris, who's been a longtime member of the American Indian Movement of Colorado, and my auntie Nita Gonzalez, who ran Escuela. She was part of the Crusade for Justice. Her dad, Corky Gonzalez, was one of the most fundamental movement people in the city, in the state, in the country, quite frankly. People everywhere know who Corky Gonzalez is. And Rudy Gonzalez and Nita Gonzalez have done their father proud. That's to say the least. They honor their dad's legacy every day. They fight for their people every single day. They stand in solidarity with us every single day. And so without further ado, I'm going to introduce my uncle Glenn Morris with the American Indian Movement of Colorado.
I just ask my ancestors to come and be with us, to sit with us, to speak into our ears, to touch our hearts. But before anybody else leaves, we're not here just to spend the day in the sun. We're here to stop this holiday. And we need every single one of you here, every single one of you, to come up here and sign this email list, because this doesn't end today. And abolishing this holiday is not the end of this. This isn't just about abolishing Columbus Day in its birthplace. This is its birthplace. This building right here is where Columbus Day in the United States of America started in 1907. Right here. And this is where we're going to kill it. But we can't do it. We can't do it by marching a couple miles, standing in the sun, eating some burritos, and going home and forgetting about it. You need to come up here and sign this list, and you need to make a commitment that when Adrienne Benavides and her colleagues introduce this legislation in January, you need to call your legislator. You get on this mailing list. We will send you the website to find out who your legislators are. And you call them. You call them every day if you have to. Because there's no reason in this state, controlled by the Democrats in both houses with a Democratic governor, that this holiday should continue to exist. There's no reason. And when Adrienne brought this legislation, and Julia Gonzalez in the Senate brought this legislation last year, it wasn't the Republicans who killed it. It was the Democrats who killed it. But there is no consequence to them, because they think that Indians don't vote. They think that Indians don't matter. Well, we got allies, and they're all here. And they need to know that next November is an election year. And if they don't do the right thing when they can, then what's the point of them being in office? And so we need you to sign up. But it's not just about Columbus Day. So Nita and Rudy and the American Indian Movement and several other organizations, we started an organization, a coalition called the Enough Coalition. We've had enough. We've had enough of Trump. We've had enough of white supremacy. We've had enough of sexism. We've had enough of racism. We've had enough of patriarchy and homophobia. We've had enough. So there's another list here for the Enough Coalition. And we just had a march a few weeks ago. We marched 8 miles to the ICE facility to say shut them down. We don't need kids in cages. This is our homeland. We don't do that in our homeland. And then for you Native people, there's a list for the American Indian movement. You know, some of us have been around for a minute. We've been doing this 30 years ago. We were standing right here starting this movement 30 years ago. And some people say, 30 years, damn, why haven't you done it yet? Because we need everybody to help us. Because white supremacy is a tough monster to kill. And we need every single one of us to make the commitment to do it. And so, you know, this is the 400th anniversary of the arrival of the first slave ships in Virginia. And we should commemorate that. But the genesis, the root, the seed of white supremacy in this country is the doctrine of Christian discovery that Christopher Columbus brought from the Pope in Rome and got embodied in federal Indian law in 1823 in a case called Johnson versus McIntosh that said by the right of Christian discovery of another people's homeland, they have the right to take the title. That's the basis of white supremacy. Every single piece of property in this city, in this state, in this country is a beneficiary of that kind of white supremacy. And so we need to really refocus and tell these legislators that in Colorado, in the birthplace of this expression of white supremacy, we demand that they stop it. We demand that they stop it in this next session, or maybe they won't be returned to office. So I thank you very much. I want to let my sister Nita say a few things, but before anybody else left, I want people to please come up, get on the mailing list. We need you. We need you, and they need to hear from you. They need to hear that there's consequences. They don't think there's any consequence to keeping this holiday. And it's not just this holiday. There's statues all over this park right here. There's a Columbus statue right down there in Civic Center Park. There's a Pioneer statue right over there at Broadway and Colfax that celebrates white supremacy and the invasion of this homeland. So it's all around us. But we can start it right here in this building. And so I implore you to get involved. And you don't even have to be involved. You don't have to even like electoral politics. I'm an anarchist myself. But you know what? We use the tactics and the strategies that we need to use at the moment. And to get rid of this holiday, they need to hear from us. I don't care if you're a Republican or Libertarian or Communist or Democrat or an anarchist. They need to hear from you that you're their constituent. And that you care about this. And that you care if they care about this. So I'm asking you to please get involved in this movement. Please get involved in the Enough Coalition. And please get involved in creating a different vision and a different reality. Because this march, this All Nations Four Directions March, it grew out of the American Indian Movement campaign against Columbus Day. But this march is not just about what we're against. It's about what we're for. What we're for. To help to grab hands with the people next to us, and to say that we can get rid of Trump. We can. You know, as Native people, we've seen worse than Trump. Believe me. His name was Andrew Jackson. Believe me. His name was Abraham Lincoln. Believe me, we've seen people worse than Trump. And so this we have to believe in this land, though. And so this Four Nations All Directions March, for those of you who were in the street, who were down there, who watched our spiritual advisors ask our ancestors to come with me, to come with us. When you saw the danzantes dance, ask yourself, when was the last time you had that feeling? When was the last time you could go to the busiest intersection in Denver, Colorado, and without a permit, without permission, without apology, you shut down the busiest intersection in Denver, Colorado? And we didn't do it just because we can. We did it with a purpose, with a vision, with a mission, because we can be better than this. We know we come from that tradition. We can be better than this. We can link arms together. We can fight for justice. We can fight for a better society. Those kids yesterday over there, they know what's up. We're killing ourselves. We're not killing the earth. The earth will survive. The question is whether the species will survive. And so they're pleading with us to do something. And that's why we come together. And when we were there in that street and you saw the beauty there, you saw all the colors of the universe there. And we had that power. And you need to take that power with you from this place. And you need to put it in action. Because it's not just about what's happening right now. It's not just about the words that I'm speaking right now. It's about what is our commitment to take this moment and to go forward with it. That's what we need to do. And so in the spirit of our ancestors who are down there on that blanket, Russell Means, Troyland Yellowwood, Obie Peters, Norma Williams, Mrs. Fobb, Mrs. Tyon, Mrs. Allrunner, Ida Bear, Iva Roy, all the people who came before us, Buckskin, who stood right here and said, that's enough of this. And they lived their whole lives this way. And how can we do less? How can we do any less? Because your ancestors fought and died so you could be here today. And how can you do less? And that's what we call you to do. That's what we call you to do right now. So I've taken too much time, as I usually do. But I really want to commend these young people because they honor this history. They honor the people who have come before them. And they willfully accept their responsibility to transcend this moment and to take us into a new future. And I thank them with all of my heart. These young girls right here, they're our example. I learn from them every single year. So I love you all. I thank you very much for your indulgence. Namechito, metakle oyasni.
Buenos tardes, I'm Nita Gonzalez, and I'm proud to stand here with all of us and humbled to be here with our spiritual leaders that help guide us on this path that we've chosen throughout our life. So Glenn gave the history. I don't know what he thought I was going to say, but I'm here to speak for my grandmothers, my aunties, my mother, my sisters, my sister friends, and more importantly, a sister friend of mine, Troy Lynn Yellowwood, who together we talked about how to bring many peoples together, united around the same cause and the same belief. And it was her inspiration, her belief, and her direction that guided us along the Four Directions March. So actually, I want to thank her for her spirit, and that I know she's here with us now. And we all stand, everyone's talked about those that have gone before us. I want to talk about those who will be here after us. If we do not take care of business, and every time there is injustice or inequality, stand up and march in the streets, it will not change. Nothing changes in this world because somehow a president or a legislature or a governor think it's the best thing. Granted, we need allies, we need friends like Adrienne Benavides willing to take the lead, but she cannot do it unless we pack the streets. And we have to now decide not to be fearful, but to be courageous, not to be humble or timid, but to be strong and stand. I don't know about you, I have a grandson. I want him raised in a world that honors him. I want him to know his ancestors. I want him to know Robert as his grandfather. I want him to know that he will be enlarged and honored. And I want him to know when something's wrong, he damn well better stand up and march like his grandmother did. That's what I want. And all of us as mothers and life givers, that's what we want for our children, our grandchildren, and our great-grandchildren. Someone said, talk about the history. This is the history. We will be here every year, all the time. We are not going away. We have never gone away until this injustice is rectified. And that's the promise we make when we march today. So all of you that march today, you bring 5 more people the next march, and 5 more people the next march, and 5 more people the next march. There should be 10,000 marching right here, because we stand for indigenous rights. We stand for humane rights. We stand for equality and justice. We stand for every person that lives on Mother Earth. And if we do not stand, no one will stand for us. Matakuasi. So they have me doing one more thing. I thank you for your patience. I know it's kind of hot out here, but really, this is nothing in comparison to what other people suffer throughout the world. So this is just a little discomfort, but we feed you, right? And give you water. So that's good. So I want to introduce a sister friend of mine who has undergone unimaginable injustice against her and our primos and primas, nuestra raza. I'm honored to introduce JV, who will speak to you about our southern relatives. So let's be clear. My father once said, everyone says it now, but he is the one at this steps that said, we did not cross the border crossed us. He said that in 1973, he said, we did not cross the border crossed us. And when he spoke that day, he said, these are our relatives, and we stand with our relatives. We will protect them, we will stand for them, we will die with them.
Buenas tardes a todos. Para mí es un privilegio estar hoy aquí, como muchos años atrás, marchando y caminando y hablando aquí con mis hermanos y hermanas de la comunidad indígena.
Hello everybody, it is really excellent to be here standing and marching with our brothers and sisters in the indigenous community.
Soy mexicana y soy inmigrante, pero por mi sangre corre sangre indígena. Y cuando a mí me dicen que me quieren deportar, que porque este no es mi país, yo les respondo que esta es mi tierra, porque América es un continente, no es un país.
And when people tell that she is immigrant and she is Mexican, yes, that is true, and she is also indigenous to this land. When people say that she is an immigrant, no, she is here from this continent.
Mis antepasados lucharon en la Revolución Mexicana, lucharon por su territorio, por su tierra, y después de siglos me toca seguir en pleno siglo XX luchando yo también por mi derecho a permanecer en mi tierra.
This goes back all the way to the Mexican Revolution and even long before, and fighting for our land is what this fight is all about, and that continues here into the 21st century.
Y estoy aquí porque no tenemos que decir yo voy a luchar por mi raza mexicana o mi raza afroamericana o mi raza indígena o mi raza asiática, porque estaríamos nosotros mismos promoviendo la división, y lo que queremos es unidad de nuestros pueblos.
We're not just fighting for our own people. We're not fighting just for Mexican, not just for Asian, not just for Black, but for all of us together, for this is all of our lands.
Estamos viendo que ahora están utilizando escuelas en Dakota para encarcelar niños, escuelas que eran para educar a niños indígenas, y estamos teniendo el mismo problema. Aquí mismo en Colorado tenemos el centro de detención de Gio. Es tiempo de pelear juntos por cerrar estos campos de concentración que son parte de los invasores y del privilegio blanco.
The concentration camps that we're seeing today of immigrant peoples is not just new. This goes back to indigenous boarding schools that were used in Oklahoma, for example, and are still being used today to incarcerate children and immigrants coming and crossing the border.
¿Y por qué estoy aquí arriesgando mi propia persona? Porque yo decidí que este gobierno, que este imperialismo, que estos opresores no van a cambiar mi vida ni la de los míos.
And why is she here, risking her own safety to fight for not just herself, but for all people against this government that is saying that she should not have a right to be here?
Y porque yo sé que esta es mi comunidad, que este es un espacio seguro, que si yo cuido tu espalda, ustedes van a cuidar la mía.
And if she puts herself forward, that not only will she be fighting for all of us, but all people will be fighting for her as well.
Porque como dije, América es un continente, no es un solo país. Y nos toca después de siglos seguir defendiendo nuestro territorio, donde nos quieren mover, donde quieren separar a nuestras familias, donde nos quieren quitar a nuestros hijos. Y basta, basta de eso. Por eso seguimos aquí en la lucha, como comunidades, como personas que sí somos nativas de este continente.
America is not just a country, America is a continent. And this land is for all those people, and we need to keep fighting for our territory, for our right to be here, against the separation of families, against the incarceration unjustly of all of our peoples.
Toda la comunidad de este continente pertenece aquí y vamos a seguir, a pesar de los años, seguir luchando en contra de ese privilegio blanco. Ahora mismo a mí me toca seguir peleando en contra del privilegio y paternalismo blanco. Pero yo he decidido, como mujer fuerte, mexicana, que mi madre me enseñó, es no rendirme y seguir confrontando las injusticias y el imperialismo.
White supremacy and imperialism is not an easy one to combat, but as her mother taught her, as a strong Mexican woman, that she needs to be able to stand up and continue and fight back.
Gracias, y es un privilegio estar aquí con la comunidad indígena. Como dije, todos somos indígenas, los que nacimos aquí, nuestros ancestros han peleado por décadas, años y cientos de años atrás, y no vamos a permitir que nos sigan oprimiendo.
Thank you. It's a privilege to be here with our indigenous family. We are all indigenous in some place or another, and this is important for us to continue and fight back. Thank you. It's really excellent to be here.
1492 fue el día que cambió la vida en este continente, y como dice este sign, Columbus no descubrió a nadie, porque habíamos miles de naciones que ya vivíamos aquí. No vamos a celebrar la invasión y el genocidio de muertes de nuestra gente. No hay nada que celebrar, y así como nosotros estamos peleando ahora por abolir ICE, también es tiempo de abolir Columbus Day.